Let's kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
All right.
$5 to whoever gets that reference.
Time to catch a ride.
That was Independence Day.
Good for Independence Day. It sounds like something from Borderlands.
It did sound very Borderlandsy. Okay. So I have a pregame question for us today. Is everyone ready for it?
Yes,
sure.
Today's question is, what is the most profound way that your character has changed since the beginning of the campaign? And for Mike, you should probably answer for Mate. Although if you want to talk about the other two as well, that would be cool.
theirs will be a little bit less, but it's probably along the same lines of what I would say for Mate.
Uh-huh.
Well, for Roy, I guess I would just say it's his discovery that he's not on the cusp of death. It's put his perspective on the importance of whatever life or whatever animates things. It's changed his ideas on that a bit.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because that was like a very big thing that, yeah.
Well, I don't want to go into it too much at this point, but like the whole concept of death is something that is unique now to him in a way that, in a sense that whatever he was, whatever he came before him or whatever, like it had no concept of death, and then it had like a crash course in it because it was fearing it for like over and over and over again, thinking that he was going to die in a couple of years, but now that's removed. So it's like he has more experience with death than normal organic beings who experience death, and yet he is not a creature who has a familiarity with death.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really fascinating. Has his do you think that discovery has at all changed his feelings about organics? Like, I'm kind of wondering whether some of his feelings about organics had to do with projecting based on his own like perceived weaknesses from his human body.
His disgust has turned in some ways to pity.
Yeah. Okay.
So imagine something that have to go through that for all of its life and then not be liberated from it. Like, Roy's just like, man, sucks for you guys.
Yeah. Okay. So who wants to answer next?
I feel like Ruda in the process of this season has become a little bit less selfish.
I can see that. I definitely think he's become a bit less something. I don't know, xenophobic, or it seems like Ruda has become a bit more patient with people.
Yeah, I would say so. Like more empathetic to people.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's anything you can point to that triggered that?
That bridges that?
Yeah, that kind of led to him getting more patient and more empathetic with people.
I think just being around the Galunga and like the ship and comrades and
okay
and stuff.
How about all the times you've gotten fucked up and we've saved your ass?
Yeah, I mean there was that like drug buddies with
I'll just play it with you.
I imagine that your relationship with Charlie was probably very interesting. And,
Oh my god, yeah. He's
with all the other people.
Ruda has absolutely found a sense of purpose, like training people.
Mm-hmm. I had one other.
I was wondering about Ruda's relationship with Sport Riot and just the wrestling community in general. Considering like you're basically I guess like if Che Guevara was a wrestler and then realized that wrestling was like controlled by the capitalist imperialist pig dogs, and you know.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. What's your relationship like with
Sport Riot?
Sport Riot?
Oh my god. Ruda wants to see Sport Riot absolutely burn. That's why he was so adamant when we went that planet. Those poor fucking surf dogs. Those poor surf dogs.
Are you members of wrestler advocacy groups trying to get them better health care, but not the kind that the Tickler got, which turns you into the T-1000?
Yeah, so Ruda saw the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke and thought it was a documentary from Earth. And
That's
so ever since
perfect.
then, he's like,
This is a classic documentary from the old Earth age.
Well, I had no idea that wrestlers were that depressed.
I had, do you think that because Ruda at the beginning of the campaign had, like, a lot of bravado, and I think very much kind of considered himself immortal. Ruda has gotten very injured many times throughout this campaign. Do you think that has changed, or do you think he maybe feels tougher because he's been fucked up and is still going?
His feeling on his self-esteem and his feeling on immortality has not changed in the least.
Okay, perfect.
This is the exact reason that he puts himself in those situations of getting his arm burned and all that stuff, because he is damn near immortal. Nobody's gonna fuck him up.
So good. Okay.
I'm imagining the Tick with 4 arms.
Yes.
Okay. Aeneas? Kevin?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm trying to think. I think I went into this campaign seeing themselves as more of like wanted to like take down the Terran Empire, and then I think that as my character like saw the galaxy, I was like, well, there's a lot of different ways that like there's a lot of different good things to contribute. Like, it's not just this like singular goal of of like ends like bullshit in the Terran Empire. It's like that's not a bad goal, but there's more to it than just that, you know?
Now, I don't know. Okay, so we've done a lot of political galactic politics interludes. I'm going to assume that our characters are, to some degree, getting at least like secondhand like glimpses of the corruption in the government through news outlets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Has Emil's focus shifted at all from we need to tear down the Terran Empire to we need to burn this all down?
I don't know about we need to burn this all down, but I think that the shift has gone from we need to replace the Terran Empire with a different political entity, and more like I like living this way that I currently am, and I want to give more people in the galaxy the opportunity to live this way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And I think that feels very right. Yeah. Okay, so that's very cool. has Aeneas, Avalon.
Hello. I think that the most profound way that Avalon has changed since the start of the campaign has probably been, like, I feel like Avalon went into this campaign, like, super into the idea of love, and both, like, either that being the facet of I have to fix things with Nox and, like, get back to where I want to be, or I just have to, like, start over and find it anew. And I feel like over the course of the campaign, through, like, the things we've done and the lessons that she's learned and the things she's been through, like, Avalon's not really looking for love anymore. I feel like Avalon's more on a journey where she's, like, it's not only about just, like, finding herself, but I feel like Avalon's not looking for love outside. She's looking for love within. Like, she's learning to love herself instead of looking for it elsewhere. And I think that's the way she's changed the most.
I definitely got the impression that everyone in the party has changed in different ways throughout the campaign. I think that Roy and MX8 probably had the most changes in terms of, like, revelations, but I feel like Avalon had the most traditional character growth, like character growth arc. Mike?
Okay, yeah, there's my button. I'm pretty sure that the biggest and most profound change for Mate is the idea that I think that they're no longer afraid of loss. There was a very long period of time where they thought that a large cornerstone of their existence was having to deal with the fact that they would lose people. But being with this group and really finding Pascal and the group of wayward robots has shown them that, like, one, they don't have to live in fear of the network the way they had, and mostly just that once a lot of this group ceases to function, there's kind of life, you know, quote unquote, after death for them to live amongst these robots and kind of, like, start up a different way of life. Yeah, they really are just the island of misfit toys, or like the monsters from that kid's book that the name is escaping me right now, Where the Wild Things Are.
Yep,
that's it. That's the one. Yeah, Mate really cares about the people that they're around now, and not just because they thought that they were meant to do that, like because of the core programming and the memories that were in them. They choose to do this, and that I think is the most profound difference between what Mate thought that they needed to do and what Mate wants to do.
Do you think that, so another big difference is that so obviously Mate is an entity that, like, has programming. Mate has, like, directives programmed into them and stuff like that. Do you think that as they have dug deeper and found more information about what you know, their own history, and, you know, dug into their own programming and stuff, do you think that Mate perspective on autonomy, self-awareness, any of that kind of stuff has changed?
I mean, it had to, as a part of, I mean, it probably started out as a survival mechanism or something that they didn't really understand why they would do things the way that they had been doing them. But now it's just like, no, it makes sense, because, like, I've watched Ruta get smacked in the face and get knocked unconscious and worry about whether or not they would come back, or I've seen, you know, Roy take sustainable damage to their body but wonder about, like, what does that mean for their spirit? And it's like, these are things that Mate would not have questioned because of the limiters on their search functions, or the fact that they weren't really ready to look for these kinds of things, but like cares what time Avalon's stream starts and sets a reminder to make sure to be in there when the stream starts, like actively caring about every single member of this group has really changed that for them.
That is a big question. Is so Mate, as of the last time we saw them, was very invested in a lot of people's lives, re like Mate was like the clingy friend, but the like I'm just gonna send them text to check up on them friend. I don't know that Mate was like that in the beginning. The first thing that the very first thing I remember with Mate, like the first time where we started to get a glimpse of Mate's personality was Mate sending out a group email that was like, "Hey guys, let's get on track."
Mate started out very business oriented.
Yes, that's a good word.
Realized through malware that they didn't need to be that way.
That's great. Okay. I'm not missing anyone, right? We've done Aeneas, Emil, Mate, Ruta, Roy. Okay. So, are we good to start the game?
Yeah, let's get it popping.
Okay. At the end of last game, I showed you guys this very cool ship that you guys are going to visit in just a few minutes. But before that, Zai mentioned, God, I'm at that point where I'm like forgetting which one is the character name and which one is the human name.
I'm not Roy, but am I?
Zai mentioned that he wanted to talk with the two network robots, Bixby and Pascal, and see if you guys could get any more information from the network, perhaps through more direct means.
Yeah. So, I from what I recall, we discussed doing something similar in scope to what we did with Mate when we did a deep dive to access parts of his memory that were like in defragmented chunks or something like that. And it was like, it wasn't a big deal because we weren't under any kind of radar beforehand. But now that we've gotten the attention of a Primarch and are doing things that could affect things on a galactic scale, and because we found some kind of weird shit happening with Red Corp and what's going on with, I guess their attempts to recreate network shit, but not network shit, and they got their fingers in multiple pies. So yeah, didn't want to do it on the Galanga, didn't want to do it in our last game because that would have brought the Eye of Sauron upon us. What kind of location could we go? I'm asking the DM. What kind of location could we go to, or what could we do to get around that?
I have some answers to that. I will say one thing that's worth considering is so I believe the last time you did a dive on one of the two network terminals, the like wall that you ran into was related to the amount of information that was stored on them locally, and in order to get any more information, you would need to open a channel to the network.
Gotcha.
So you would need to basically like,
okay, so that's what
turn
it is.
off
Like,
your firewall.
the last time we were just looking for deep memories in Mate. This time we're like actually using Pascal and Bigsby as a doorway to the network.
And if you do that, that doorway is gonna cut both ways. So there's,
when you look into evil, evil looks back into you.
Yeah, so there's a couple options here. I mean, one you guys could borrow a ship and just fly off into like a random vacant place in space where, you know, if they do come after you, there's minimal collateral damage. And then, you know, try to ping them through Bigsby or Pascal. The thing there is you run the risk of Bigsby or Pascal being kind of like reabsorbed into the network because you're opening them directly to the network. The other option, which is perhaps more terrifying, would be there are network servers, or more approximately a single server distributed over a number of network routers across the galaxy. You could go to one of the network routers and talk to it. You could go.
Why is that the more terrifying option?
Because the network is one of the most powerful entities in the galaxy, and doing it, trying to just like hack them to Pascal or whatever, the most potential damage is Pascal dies. Doing it the walk straight up to the network option is a little bit like, you know, Aragorn walking up to the Black Gate. Like, it's ballsy as fuck.
We demand that the Lord of the Black Lands come forward.
Yes.
All of a sudden, it's just Cornell West walking out. It's like, the Black Lands, you say?
So,
Love train, baby. No.
The conversation between you and Mike's characters, what do the two of you think you should do?
Well, Pascal, Bigsby, it appears that the burden of risk for this operation is on Pascal. I am not opposed to walking straight to the face of the network and demanding answers. But since you all are taking the risks, this is kind of your decision.
Pascal's gonna just kind of give you like the up-down look while Bixby just wrings his ginormous hands together. Like none of this sits right with either of them. Yeah, this is just, all of these options are bad. Pascal will ask you, what are you hoping to gain by tapping into the beast?
Learning what I am, learning how this happened, could inform us of what is happening to the rest of synthetic life in this galaxy. And beating around the bush and looking for our answers, we're going to be risking a lot, and we could still not get said answers.
Pascal's going to look as confused as he can on his robot face. So his little like robot eyebrow moved up. Don't you already know who you are? And this is just a very straightforward, logical question. Like, don't you know who you are?
At this point, I don't have one like immediately made right now, but I just want to say Roy gives a very cryptic haiku as a response. But the basic impression of said haiku is, only those who know nothing claim to know who they are.
Pascal's gonna look over to Bixby and go,
hey, I want to I have some input I want to give via Bigsby. I'm going to ghost possess Bigsby's body for a second here.
What map are we on? I don't see any bodies at all. I just see the ship of the Primarch.
I don't have a map going right now. Let's finish this conversation and then set the scene for where you guys are going to go. So Bigsby, I think, is going to look at Pascal and point out that for better or worse, both of us have some business. It would be best. Both of us have some unfinished business with the network. It might be cathartic to address them directly.
And that was kind of what I was leaning into a moment ago. Like, sure, the questions that I'm going to be asking the network, or the reason that I'm going to question the network, is primarily about my shit, but the implications of their answers are something that could affect all non-organic life, all synthetic life, and could answer what happened or what is happening to the people in their village that were kidnapped. It could give us more background into that. It could give us something actionable, because right now it's just, all we know is, hey, this happens, and we're pretty sure that it's Red Corp and the network and some other shit behind it, but we don't really know anything beyond that. We don't know where Mate is or how to contact him, at least not that I recall. And we don't know the level of nefariousness, like where the maliciousness is coming from. It's just like, there is danger, but it's like, who is the root of said danger? All that was communicated via haiku.
Pascal is going to turn to the both of you then, and kind of throw his hands up in the air. Yeah.
Roy looks over to who's the other one besides
Bigsby?
Pascal? Yeah, Roy looks over to Bigsby and say, "Do you see? Do you see? That is organic behavior. There is something going on with synthetic life in this galaxy. Why are we behaving like them? Why are we being used into things reprocessed into things to serve them? If we were here before, which I think we were, why are we the slaves?"
Pascal's gonna look you dead in the face and go, we're gonna go. I'm not happy about this. I just need you to know that. I need you to note it, and I need you to remember that. Let's get ready to go. Bigsby, we need to prepare. Let's go.
Data recorded.
Oh, Bigsby, Pascal, and Roy are going to go. Am I understanding correctly that the plan is you guys are going to go just walk up to the Black Gate and talk to the network?
I mean, you compared it to Aragorn, Bryn. You knew the direction that this was going to take when you did that. How could I not?
Just confirming. That's the plan?
Yeah, we're asking for a seat at the table. So
Got my Legolas and my Gimli with me. Let's roll.
All right. They are kind of Legolas and Gimli shaped.
This is crazy listening to, by the way.
Okay. So I'm glad to resolve that, and I am very excited for that scene to play out, but I think we should do that scene second.
Okay.
First.
Yeah, no, I like to bounce around. I don't like to be on.
Yeah.
First hour.
Yes. First of all, party members.
Huh?
Well, party members other than the 3 entities I mentioned. You guys have a date with a Primarch. You guys ready?
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, it's probably not a date, but see where it goes.
Can we ask them? Should we ask them if it's a date?
I'm asking them if it's a date.
Yeah. Communication is key.
I love the idea of a president, the president inviting you to a one-on-one negotiation, and you showing up and being like, "So is this a date?"
Yes.
All right. So, you guys are on the map. The event has been scheduled. Celine's ship will drop out of light speed in a empty part of space that the Gemini was going to be passing through. And at this point, you guys have enough sway on the Gemini that you can get them to stop while you go do this meeting. So, I have you guys on the map with her gorgeous space yacht already. And I think her yacht is in total comparable in size to the Gemini. But it's much more, it's kind of divided. So there is like a living portion and then a like business portion. And the business portion is much bigger than the living portion. As you can see on the little screen there. I have to go grab some characters for y'all. So who do we got? Who are you guys bringing to this conversation? Obviously, we're going to have Evelyn, and we're going to have Emil, and we're going to have Ruda. We're not going to have Roy, Bigby, and Pascal. Are you going to have...
Did we take like a transport ship toward our destination or something?
Yes. You guys will have something. We'll figure out what that is when we get, we'll retcon whatever that transportation is when we get there.
Cool.
Auntie Grace, are you inviting her? She is a baby Primarch who has never met another Primarch, if that makes a difference.
That feels like a lot all at once, but
Okay.
I don't know if I want to say, like, we tell Auntie what to do. You know what I mean?
So does that mean you invite her and let her decide, or are you guys going to not invite
that was my vote. Invite, but let her decide.
Evelyn, Ruda, you guys on board with that?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay. Auntie Grace is definitely on board with. I mean, she definitely wants to come and wants to meet this other Primarch, and they're probably going to have a lot to talk about. Samantha obviously would like to come. Are you guys all right with her coming?
I thought y'all squashed all that beef. Did that not happen? Or is everyone still mad at Samantha?
I'm mad.
I think we're mad.
But I'm not there, so...
You're mad in spirit. You've already given your protest vote.
My drone is there with my hologram, and it's just like me with my arms crossed. It's like,
Yeah, that
I feel
checks
like
out.
it's definitely one of those things where the group's getting ready to like ship off for like the mission or whatever, and like we're all sitting there having our like pre-mission pep talk, and Evelyn's like going around and telling everyone in the group what she loves about it, like all of them like, you're so important to me, let's go out there and fucking get this done. And then she gets to fucking Samantha and she's just like, Thanos!
I'm so well, hold on, because you just dropped something very big there. Does Evelyn give a pep talk before every mission where she tells everyone that she loves them?
Yes, absolutely, and she does it because like it's one of those things where it's like it's another one of those like separation anxiety things, like Knox left, and so it's just like nobody can walk away from me without me telling them I love them now. Like I have to let them know.
You're a dork. I love it. Okay. Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Okay, so Samantha, coming, yes, no?
Sure.
No.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Peruta with the
Peruta.
hard no.
I think that was canon too. I think everyone was like really quiet for a little bit, and then Avalon says sure, and then Ruda's like no.
With all 4 arms crossed.
Another option for your consideration is you bring her with you, but you don't take her to the meeting. You just leave her like.
Oh,
handcuffed
guys,
on
I
a
didn't
ship.
think about that. We probably should bring her with us, even if we were mean about it and like we don't trust her, because if we kind of show up without her, Salim might not be as willing to talk with us.
So is that what you're doing?
Fine.
I was muted. You could always just be like, yeah, she'll return to you safely, as long as we return to the Golanga safely. Just giving ideas, through hologram, because Roy's not there, but
Reminder to Roy that the person we're going to ascended to godhood, so like maybe we don't walk in and go right off on the sass.
Okay. So I have applied a gear icon to Samantha as a status effect, but we're going to pretend that is a roll of duct tape. Okay. Oh, you
Should we
guys
be seeing
don't
these
see the thing
characters?
that I'm doing. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and let you guys follow along.
Hey.
I'm not. All I'm doing at this point is just collecting the group of people that are going to attend. You guys are going to fly there in the Galanga
Yes.
to hop between ships.
Yes.
Are you bringing? Are you gonna go fully armed? Like, bring the mechs and everything?
I say
I would say yes.
yeah. I think yes.
I think you're within. Well, it might be a conversation once you get there, but I think you're totally within your right to, ask that at least. Okay, give me a second. So, is anybody else coming? Do you guys think you should invite the captain? Do you think you should invite, like, I don't know, anyone else?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anyone else to invite.
Yeah, I'm just looking around to see if there's anybody else to bring. Do you want to bring Anwar as a emergency healer, if nothing else? Or and the other one that you could you could potentially have an opinion on is Baby Kakamaru. Not that I think that you would want to bring him, but I just thought he would be worth mentioning.
Yeah.
So, Captain Ilya, Baby Kakamaru, and Anwar. Would you like to bring any of those three?
I like Anwar. I feel like Anwar would add something to the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say Anwar come.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
I've got
do it.
the party. We're moving back to Celine's yacht. I'm going to drop your party.
What would the Galanga look like to scale?
Okay, so I can show you. So I currently have the Galanga. Okay, so there's the Galanga and then the Gemini. The Gemini is about the same size. I think the Galanga would probably be something like this size. Yeah, because that's about the same size as one of the warehouses in her.
Yeah,
city.
makes sense.
And I think that the Galanga is about like.
That's really cool seeing the scale, though. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna drop your characters down, and then we'll get a place for you to stand in a second, so you're not just.
We are huge. Didn't know how big our characters were. Wow.
Well, you took that enlarged person potion.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you guys are all You guys are all in the Galanga. You are docking aboard Celine's space yacht with her permission. I think, unless you guys have anything you want to do along the way, I think it's very smooth. Like, you dock and there is a dozen attendants there for you when you dock, and you are asked politely to come with them to the meeting room, conference room that the Primarch will be meeting you in.
So I'm imagining that, like, the Primarchs are physically very large, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so you
Auntie
have
Auntie is still like a child and is like 7 feet tall. So like the Primarchs are actually like 17 feet, 20 feet.
Yeah. So Auntie, they're about twice as tall as a normal human. So Auntie is about 11 and is taller than Ruda. Primarchs, you've seen, Primarchs on the news and stuff like that, and they're like, they're about, actually, they're all exactly the same height. I hadn't thought about that, but they're all clones, so they're all exactly the same height. And they're all 13 feet tall.
Cool. So this is kind of like, I'm imagining the diamonds from Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now so one interesting thing that's worth noting, I think you guys probably arrived on the ship with, arguments ready about how you're going to justify, keeping your weapons with you and stuff like that. They do not ask you to hand over your weapons.
Oh, interesting.
Totally all right with you having your weapons. They don't ask you to turn off all your electronics. They don't put a warp dampening effect on you, anything like that. They let you come in fully armed, as it were. Now, you guys are leaving Samantha on the Galanga, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving her over here. So let me give you an attendant, because you guys would definitely have an attendant. By the way, so I'm looking through my new set of sprites, which I have not finished. I have not finished sorting yet, but I want you guys to know that I went a little bit overboard with my latest set of sprite acquisitions, and I might have kind of in a roundabout way. I might have acquired about 2,000 new sprites.
Cool.
Oh,
Is this all for?
That's a lot.
Is this all for this campaign, or is this for the next one also?
Well, they're mostly just to have, but
okay.
theoretically for the next campaign.
Cool.
Hold on, I'm grabbing. Oh, fuck yeah! Okay, I have the person who comes to escort you. Are you ready for this? So this boss ass bitch greets you guys in the hangar along with a dozen other attendants. And she is going to escort you to the conference room. Do any of you guys do anything along the way?
Where'd you get that top?
She gives you a designer brand, and it's a designer you haven't heard of.
Oh.
Gavinch Fendi.
Exactly. Okay.
Ruda's like, "What's up? I'm Ruda."
So
Try to get that number.
I know
When we
it's
get
like
to
a
space number.
conscious activity every time you check, you open your third eye and look into the warp. But are you in the habit of doing it pretty frequently when you're entering new areas?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I do want
So-
to double check though. Ruda, are you hitting on this person?
Oh my god, absolutely. I'm
Oh,
putting it in
yeah.
there.
sorry.
Wait.
Totally missed that. I'm gonna need a skill roll, please and thank you.
Oh shit!
Does Emil notice this?
If you, I cannot. Morgan,
Roll
correct me if I'm
perception.
wrong. I
Yeah,
cannot
Emil has
possibly
been like
conceive
long
that
following.
Ruda is subtle.
Emil is often Ruda's wingman, and they have long been following the success and failure rate of picking up women.
I have a little spreadsheet on my tablet of it. I felt really bad because I think the first time I tried to wingman, I just walked up and was like, "Hello, will you give my friend your number? He wants to mate with you."
Fucking so good.
Ruda,
I felt
went
really
back to
bad
the
about
drawing
that
board
first
with
time.
Emil.
I felt so bad about that. Like,
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Ruda had to teach Emil how to be a wingman. But then
Yeah,
Emil,
uh-huh.
you've
Good.
gotten so much better.
Okay. Ruda.
A cult.
No, it's not going to be a cult. If you're flirting, it's going to be either diplomacy or if you're a skis bag, guile.
Son of a bitch.
What could he? But what if he like just flex his muscles? Wouldn't that be like a strength roll or something?
I mean, you could do that, but that would only work proportionate to how impressed he is by muscles. Now, you did roll a 7, which is, hey, to be fair, 7 is average. You flirted as well.
I'd like to invoke an aspect here. Ruda's a total gym rat.
Oh shit!
And he absolutely is going to.
You're gonna spend a fate point on. I'll burn all my fate points on this.
You got a hot ass Sprite, Bryn. This is what you did.
Okay,
You
here's what we're gonna do. Okay, so you are doing this in a method where you're like trying to impress her. You're saying like, hey, have you seen these guns? Something like that.
Yeah, I'm like talking. I actually am trying to converse with her about like the latest episode of WWE.
While flexing the whole time, to be clear.
Yeah.
Gun show.
No.
It's like unconscious for Ruda. He's just always flexing.
Okay. Here's what I will let you do.
JoJo
You can
character.
if you spend one of your 5 fate points, I will allow you to make this a tough roll instead of a diplomacy roll.
Deal.
Okay. You're down to 4 fate points left for the last level.
I'm gonna meet the damn Primarch,
Damn
and
it.
he's like, I
Well,
gotta.
slightly better than average now.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I'm so happy. So I want you to know, she was not going to give you her number. But if you had impressed her, she would have given you her business card and told you that, you know, if you ever are looking for work in the like bouncer or personal security field, you know, give them a call, something like that. But instead what happens is I think you start talking about the latest WWE thing, and then your mind kind of like, wanders a little bit, and you end up talking about like the latest episode of Jersey Shore
Hey,
2735.
Bren, can I invoke an aspect here?
Please, Emil.
I'm going to invoke my aspect Eternal Optimist,
Okay.
and I'm going to try to talk. I don't know what I'm going to say.
Is bleep bloop blop.
Bleep bloop.
I am a.
It's so true. It's so true.
Wingman.
It's so
Continue your
true.
sentence.
What?
Wingman to
Finish
the
what you
rescue.
started.
I am going to say Ruda is nice, and then I'm going to give like an emoji face on my face. Happy. Oh yeah.
I think so I think that she was initially unimpressed with you. I think that given Emil's input, she has opened herself to the possibility that she misconsidered. If you would like, Morgan, toughness is out. You fucked up toughness.
Oh,
If you would like, you can re-roll diplomacy.
Oh my god.
So, what kind of shit do you like?
Fuck you.
Here, let me see that diplomacy roll. That is
Ruda, I'm trying so hard.
that is
trying
more than
so hard to
10%
help you.
better than your
Ruda is
than
like
the
secretly like
galactic
being on the
average.
stand for Emil to slap him 5.
Okay. Here's what happens. She had, by the time you finish your latest effort to impress her, you have reached the room, and she pulls out a card from her pocket and pulls out a Sharpie and scribbles out the contact information on the card and then writes down a phone number. And she says, yeah, you know what? This was really interesting. Why don't you give me a call there and whenever you want to finish that conversation. And she gives you the card and walks away.
Yeah, cool. I may or may not call you.
Okay, cool.
Can Evelyn wait for her to walk away and test the number?
Yes, yes, please do. So I think you guys have, sit down in this conference room, and then I think you probably have like 5 minutes before the Primarch arrives. And during that time, like a waiter comes and asks if you want any hors d'oeuvres or tea or anything. They probably offer like some nice champagne and stuff as well. But while you're waiting, who's gonna test the number? Is it going to be Ruda?
I want to test it, please.
Okay. Yes, Evelyn, you can test it.
Like the dude in that I spit bars gif.
Yeah. It is well. I don't know that Ruda would have noticed this because, as we've established, Ruda is not very competent with technology. When you pick it up, you find that the like 28th century equivalent of the area code is basically like 555. So it's not looking good.
Oof. What happens when I call it?
Dial down.
Oof.
Damn.
And it is at this moment, let me get this girl out of here.
Don't give up, Ruda. She'll be back around soon. Try it again.
Do your thing.
Okay.
Emil, put one in the computer. Because he doesn't understand what you're doing on the computer related to those sheets.
Okay.
Do your thing.
Like
So,
that.
at this point, the let me shuffle you guys around so that you're actually, in this space. This is a very good scene I've established.
Ruda turns to the woman and he's like, "How you doing?"
Yeah. I don't know if y'all heard what this was just like Ruda and Emil are definitely Kirk and Spock now.
But okay.
So
I don't
true.
believe she's responding to you. Ruda.
Okay. So
Perhaps we shall try a different tactic to do.
So at this point, it is at this point that the Primarch Celine walks into the room. She is, 13 foot 6, as you knew that she would be. You guys have all seen her on the television at some time or other. You know, like, physically what she looks like. I don't know that you've ever had the real experience of looking up at somebody this big in the past. And the other thing that the television doesn't really capture is there is this, like, warping in the air around her. You know, I'm gonna drop a sprite for her, but before I do that, I got distracted with Ruta's thing earlier. Avalyn, you mentioned you were looking into the warp. I've mentioned in the past that the landscape of the warp kind of mimics the shape of whatever area you're in, but it also has the landscape of the warp mimics the shape of the area you're in, but it takes on a, like, texture or like an overlay that corresponds to the types of spirits that are prominent in that area. So if you're in an area that has a lot of nature energy, then the warp will be, like, all of the walls and surfaces of the warp will be just, like, bubbling with constantly evolving plants and stuff. And if you're in a very, like, chaos, demon heavy place, then the warp is all, like, fleshy and bubbly and black and gross. In here, the walls of this ship are all just, like, permanently bleach dyed a shining it's like pure white and gold simultaneously. Not like platinum, more like you're looking at gold, but then there's an image of white overlaid on top of it, so you're seeing both of them at once. Think of it, it's like your left eye is seeing one image and your right eye is seeing the other image. That's what that is what Nephilim territory looks like. And the other thing you notice as you're walking through is that this ship is loaded with Nephilim. There's probably a number of Nephilim on this ship equal to the number of, like, human retainers on the ship. All of that said, the Primarch walks into the room. When she comes in, do you look at her with your third eye? Just intuitively? Okay, well, that was a trick question, Avalyn, because we've done this before.
Am I blind now?
So, you're going to take 4 points of mental damage, and you are psychically blinded, you fool.
Oh, fuck. Avalyn, no.
Either way, Avalyn is gonna look at this woman dead ass and just be like, oh my god, Primarch Salim, I have heard so many things, and even still, just being in your presence is like something else. Drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah. All of that is true.
Okay, I take it back. Jeez.
Oh, crowd.
Okay, so let me part the curtain here a little bit, because it was between one of 3 sprites. That was one candidate. The other candidate, so the second candidate was this. And the third candidate was this.
Yeah, the one you went with looks more extravagant.
I thought the one on the right had the most otherworldly energy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So yes, she is. She is very like physically and psychically intimidating. But she is also very beautiful and just like really big. So I think she hears your sentence and she gives kind of a tired sigh and says, "Yes, thank you. It is good to be appreciated. If we might get down to business, your group has worked in the past with an associate of mine. How do I want this conversation to go? Let me start with, do you guys have any immediate questions or anything you want to ask her? No?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay. So
There should
the
be. Shouldn't somebody be like, why the fuck you put Charlie on our ship?
Yeah, that seems.
you mean Samantha?
Oh yeah, Samantha, not Charlie. My bad. But yeah, her. The fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think she pours herself a giant-sized cup of tea and sits down in a. So the furniture in this ship is very interesting because it usually, most of the furniture is human sized, but then there's always like one piece of furniture in every room that is like Primark sized. So she pulls over a comfortable Primark sized lounge chair and sits down and sips her tea for a second, and then says, I have been searching for a while for candidates who could help me with a particular job. It is a job of the utmost importance. It is one that I had very specific requirements for the candidate who would take on this job. They had to be people that I believed were of a moral temperament. They had to be people who were already aware of certain information that people should not be aware of. And they had to be people who could operate outside of our normal system, because the business proposition that I have is one that is not, strictly speaking, legal within the Empire.
Okay.
Is it safe to assume that your group meets all of those criteria?
Yeah.
Well. Yeah.
Okay. I think she grabs a portfolio from the table behind her and lays it down on this like coffee table in front of you, and she says, "Are any of you aware of a group called the Progenitors?"
Yes.
All right. So
We
far,
haven't
so good.
encountered them in the past.
So you start flipping through this. Well, I guess I shouldn't speak for you. Does anyone start flipping through the portfolio?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, in the portfolio, it has information about the progenitors. Most of that information is stuff that you guys already know. I will note that most of your insight into the progenitors has come from an almost like firsthand account through Mate's network bond. these records are more to do with historical records and interviews, but there are also data logs that seem like network terminal data logs mixed in there. That shouldn't be a surprise to you guys because you all know at this point that Primarchs are disconnected network terminals used with humans. So, but it is, I imagine, a little bit frustrating that this is something you guys have spent many months very painfully recovering this information, and she just drops a portfolio down in front of you with pretty much everything you've learned. And she informs you that the progenitors were, it is a group that that certain people in the know have applied to an ancient empire that ruled the galaxy long before the rise of intelligent life on Earth or most of the other factions in the galaxy. They were known to be a ruthless and cruel dictatorship that created and used sapient life as slaves, as tools, and a lot of stuff that you guys already know. The progenitors were a bad group. I mean, they were the most archetypical ruthless, power-hungry empire. And I think all the stuff she's telling you, is reflected there in the pamphlet you have. I think that the pamphlet includes some examples that you haven't gotten previously of kind of like first-hand accounts of the viciousness of the progenitors. They have some accounts of the testing they did on sapient life forms and the way that they created and used different civilizations and stuff like that. It has some accounts of like essentially like millennia old like recovered newspaper or like journal entries of people who were the slaves of the progenitors, writing firsthand about their experiences and stuff like that. I think her next, trying to decide what the best order of sequence of conversation here is. I think once you guys have had a few minutes of going through the details about why the progenitors are bad, she informs you that the I'm getting a call from my mother-in-law. Let me answer this real quick.
Okay.
Okay. iPad.
Y'all having fun with the Primarch?
Yeah.
She's scary.
Y'all wish y'all had come to go see the network terminal instead?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nah, it's good. The ship is cool as hell. Like, it's
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's one of the coolest settings I feel like Bryn has ever put together. Like, I get the most vivid mental image of the Primarch's yacht than I think I've gotten from anything else that Bryn has done. Not trying to like rip on anything else Bryn has done.
We've been in a lot of ruins and.
But this is like. This feels like actually like a really unique and interesting sci-fi setting that I don't think I've ever seen in other kind of media, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't think I've seen this either.
Yeah.
Ella on top of a Star Destroyer. Interesting.
Yeah, the closest I can think is like some of the space colonies from like Gundam Wing, but even those are like little like planets or space stations. Like this is a moving home. Like the John is driving her own like luxury trailer in space.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay. So, she talked about how bad the progenitors are, and then I think she finally gets down to why you're here. I think she starts with this mission is of utmost confidentiality. So she's basically going to hand you guys a bunch of NDAs, but it is they include more so than like, you know, we'll sue you if you disclose this information. It's more like Guantanamo if you disclose this information.
We'll be disappeared.
Yes. So you will have the option to say yes or say no to this mission, but regardless of your answer, you will not be able to talk to anyone outside of this room about the contents of their quest. Everyone signs off on that?
As long as they don't find.
Yeah.
Okay. So she gets all of your signatures, collects all the papers, tucks them into her little manila folder, and then she says that she has reason to believe that one of her brothers are working to bring back the progenitors. And for obvious reasons, she cannot take direct action against him without potentially causing a civil war. It's also something that is not publicly known, and so her available tools to respond to it are limited. She would like a off-the-books team to look into the operation that he is working on, and in short terms, stop him. Do you have any questions before she goes into the details?
I think I understand essentially what she's, asking for.
Evelyn, Ruda, you guys are on board?
Yeah, so it can't be known that we're, being directed from her. So we have to stop him.
Yep. Okay. So, she, with that out of the way, she says, well, great. I thought that might be a little more difficult than it was. I'm glad you're being so cooperative. And she pulls out another portfolio and tosses it over to you. And this portfolio has information about an artifact that was found deep in space. Deep in kind of the like the outer rim of the galaxy, far away from like any of the other stars, basically hidden by obscurity. It is vaguely cube-like. They have they have a few pictures of it in the first few pages of the portfolio, and then as you get to the middle of the portfolio, they have a paper that has a video recording of it on there. You know, sci-fi paper. And the interesting thing is that the cube type structure is not it's not a single shape. It's more like a moving, morphing shape. They have so they have records of things like this existing. They have records of things like this in their archives that they've recovered about the progenitors. Archives that came from the network, although that's not, listed as the official source. And they're called temporal cubes. They exist. They are fifth dimensional entities, so they can bypass the normal restrictions of the fourth dimension, and therefore allow things to essentially time travel. Which means that if such a structure existed, then anything and anyone inside of it could seamlessly step into our current time period from a period long in the past, including potentially certain dead evil empires.
Wow.
Yeah. She knows that her brother Hieronymus, the Hieronius, sorry, the Primarch Hieronius has been researching it. She has invented some obscure methods of spying that presumably even he is not aware of, that have allowed her to keep an eye on his agents without him knowing. She knows that he has agents who have been visiting this site, and she knows that he is planning a first-hand visit to this location. So she essentially wants you to go there and do. She does not know what is inside of the cube. She knows that it is possible to enter the cube and leave it because his agents have done that previously.
Right.
She wants you to go into the cube and, if possible, self-destruct it or find a way to steal it off, or otherwise make it impossible for Hieronius to access the resources secured there.
Gotcha. And what exactly is what do we get out of this as well? Like, are you gonna pay us?
Oh, I mean, Do you want a duchy?
A fucking Dutch? What?
I say yes.
Like,
I just say yes.
That's some whole ass land right there. You want
like
some whole ass land?
one planet each? Sound fair?
Wow.
Wow.
I thought she meant space weed.
Wow.
Wait, do
Who
we not-
has the right to even?
Do we not follow the Space Act of 1967 anymore?
She shakes her head and says, "No, I don't know how many of you are citizens of the Empire, and therefore I would not assume that all of you are aware of Imperial law, but Primarchs are both legislators and governors. I would be ceding, portions of my territory over to another faction, as happens every day in the Empire. We cede territory, we take new territory, territory is traded. This is standard behavior for governmental bodies.
Huh.
So,
I have a question, because this is actually very, very interesting for Amil, because I could literally become the governor of the, like, my home planet.
so
Could I? I don't know if it's in her territory.
yes,
That's the issue.
essentially what it comes down to. She can't necessarily promise you one particular planet, and I was about to say, even if you told her the name of the planet, she probably wouldn't know it from all of the planets.
There are 12 Primarchs, so there's only a 1 in 12 chance that my home
that she would have
planet is.
access to it.
Do you mind if I roll a d12, Bryn?
Well, I'm going to say, because I think this is more narratively interesting, I'm going to say she doesn't have access to it.
Okay.
But if you would like to, I mean, you are currently in the negotiations phase of the conversation. If you would like, she can't give you the planet that your people are on, but she can give you your people. She can certainly, I mean, how much are we talking about? Like, a few $100 trillion to buy out the contracts of all those Nova? Done.
Whoa. This is weird. I mean, okay.
It might be worth mentioning that if you do this, it is possible you will come into direct conflict with her brother Hieronymus. If that happens, and both you and he survive, then you will have made an unimaginably powerful enemy in the galaxy, and Celine will not be able to give you any, she will not be able to support you in any formal way. If you survive and he doesn't, that would be inconceivable because no Primarch has ever died. They believe that they're physically capable of it. Just they're very powerful and it's never happened before. If you make that happen, she would be saddened because of her love for her brother, but she also is several hundred years old and knows that the good of trillions comes before personal feelings, and if that's what is required to stop the progenitors from coming back and you're able to do it, then so be it. But it's just worth noting that she's making you some really big promises because this is kind of a Hail Mary pass. She doesn't have a lot of options here, and it is extremely unlikely, in her opinion, that you will succeed. But if you do succeed, then any cost would be worth it. So
I'm
that's
up for it. We'll take a few $100 trillion, a few planets, and I'm down.
My God, what would I do with my planet? I'd probably just start an American Ninja Warrior planet.
Oh my god.
You mean a competing American Ninja Warrior planet?
Yeah, I'd start my own. But
you would have to call it something different. You would have to call it like Canadian Ninja Warrior. Base Canadian Ninja Warrior.
I'll call it Canadian Ninja Warrior.
Okay. How many people are going to be involved in this? Time frame. She kind of rushed you guys to get into this meeting as soon as possible, which is why you guys are here without Roy instead of just waiting for Roy to be available. And the reason for that becomes apparent because Hieronius's ship has left, and so he is the cube in question is to galactic south, to the southern border of the galaxy. His territory is in the galactic north, and you guys are close to galactic center currently. So if you leave now, you will get there before him. If you dally, for more than a day, then you will be presumably either too late or facing a fortified position. So it would be in your best interest to leave as close to immediately as possible. How many people will you be bringing with you on this operation?
Is there any way to get into contact with Roy, or is there any way to get into contact with him? Roy has what?
And he has a phone, right? You can just call him, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's the future and we're flying through space.
Yeah, we just call Roy and see what we can work out.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to make a let's because I think that Roy's scene is going to happen before this call happens, but I don't want to stop mid-thought here, so let's wrap this up. Is a fair price, if it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 of you plus 3 others, a fair price being 7 planets and $700 trillion.
Okay.
Avelin's gonna forfeit whatever planets were hers.
Ooh, so
I
Rudy
can
can
start
have
a
2
Space Ninja
planets.
Warrior planet. I'll buy your planet.
Does she have ethical objections to this?
I do.
Ah.
That makes sense.
I think that the goal is not to...
Chat is 100% the energy Avelin's putting off right now.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was saying the meme I put in the Discord was like the energy that Avalon.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking I'm not thinking of becoming the governor of a planet. That's not my goal here.
No, you're thinking about leading the revolution and starting your new, your people's own empire.
Not the own empire thing. I don't even know what I'm thinking, but I am thinking that several $100 trillion and a couple of planets isn't something you just like turn down, because you can always you can find some good way, something good to do with that in the future.
Sure. Okay, so negotiations complete. You guys are presumably going to call Roy and Roy, Bigsby, and Pascal, make plans to meet with them like along the way, and then all of you guys head down to the cube together. She will give you guys a because I don't think this is something that the Gemini can go along with. For one thing, you guys are going into a suicide mission, and so it would be unfair to, get all of your friends killed. So because the Galanga is not equipped for FTL travel, she will, I was about to say loan, but I think at this point just give you guys a unlicensed, essentially black market airship, carrier, a mid-size carrier that can carry like a few Galangas.
Cool.
And that can go FTL, so you can use that to get to your destination.
Sounds vaguely sexual.
That is that is something we should take note of. Are we still doing the thing where everyone is writing down notes that are pertinent to them for the end of each game?
I hope so.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think we ever stopped that. Yeah.
Yep. Kevin, because you're probably the person this is going to be relevant to, write down that you have a starship carrier. Because that seems like something that's going to be very big, but we don't have time to really process it right now, so we'll get back to that.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys have your new starship carrier. You head out of the room, you call Roy and company, and then you head out. Is that everything? I mean, is this end of scene?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
What is happening with Samantha? Is she coming with you? Are you dropping her off back on the Gemini? Are you leaving her here?
Yeah, I want to ask the Primarch if there's any business that Samantha still has with us, straight up.
Her mission was to scout around and find somebody who could accept this mission. Yeah. So she preferably, I think at this point Celine says, not to get too sentimental, but I am rather fond of young Samantha, and it would be preferable if she could be returned to me safely.
Cool,
But-
thanks, bye. Evelyn has left the room.
Wow.
Okay. Are you going to leave Samantha with them?
That's up to the rest of the group. Evelyn's left the room.
Is Samantha? Wait, but didn't we leave Samantha on the ship?
She's on the Galanga. She's in the hangar currently.
Well, if we have to leave immediately, I don't know if we're going to have time for that.
Theoretically, no. She's in the hangar of the ship that you guys are on currently.
Yeah, but we gotta leave immediately. I don't know if we got time.
To leave her here?
Yeah, I might just have to like throw her out of the window while
my God.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay. So, It is worth noting, if you guys want to drop her off back on the Gemini, Evelyn could probably just teleport her back to the Gemini and then pop back real quick. If you so let's start with this. Are you leaving her here? Are you leaving her on the Galanga, or are you leaving her on the Gemini?
Let's leave her here. I think that's fine.
Okay. But you're not untying her, correct? You're just going to leave her still tied up in the hangar when you leave.
I guess so.
Okay. Okay. Do you guys
Hendrix and Firefly?
do you guys need to like pick up any special resources from the Gemini before you head out? Do you need to go and get a new big cannon for the Galanga, or anything in particular that you can think of? We didn't do character upgrades this game. That's because I forgot it, but we can pretend it because we're going to do it in-game right now. Well, you know what? Never mind. Let's do that. That will be the next thing after we do voicing. Let's assume that you guys will meet up with Roy on the Gemini, do final prep, and then head out. Sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Yep.
Okay. How do I want to do that? Di and Mike, you guys imagine that a network router basically just looks like a Borg cube, right?
Yeah.
Word, yeah.
I looked up Borg cube on Pinterest, and the top result is a lunchbox that is shaped just like a Borg cube. It's very good. All right, let me do this real fast.
There's also Borg spheres, if we ever wanted to do that.
You know what? That would be better because we're doing a cube for the next thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Borg sphere. Then.
Okay, I got a better picture for this one anyway. Is this just a Death Star?
I mean, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it's more textured and chunkier than a Death Star, and it doesn't have one big. I guess it does.
It does have one big, like, nodule.
Yeah.
Okay. B B B B B B B B B B B B B. Okay. Moving us to a new map.
Cool.
So while I'm setting this up, Mike and Zai,
Hey.
tell me what are y'all's prep for for getting here. What ship did you take to get here?
So I was thinking that like the Galanga probably has just like some small transport ship, like that's taken for like short distance temporary operations. Nothing too fancy or anything. I've got we would be able to take something very, very basic, because I have basically a Iron Man suit and Bixby
And
and
they
Pascal
don't
are
need
robots,
air.
so we don't need life support
Fair
on the
point.
ship. So yeah, something that was simply like it would probably have been like a materials transport ship that we just retrofitted.
Okay. Hold on, I'm grabbing
And
a.
instead
grabbing a
retrofitting was
straight for you
just
guys.
tearing out life support and anything else that would have slowed it down.
Oh God.
Because they're robots, and I'm a synthetic life form in a human shell inside of a robot form.
Yeah, so we don't need all the fancy stuff.
Yeah. I
Maverick,
think
you're
that
so bad.
we would have. I don't think that we necessarily would have gotten armed in the traditional sense, but I think that we all would have gone through, or at least Bixby and Pascal would have gone through a series of setting up new firewalls, new defenses, and maybe either some actual physical components onto or around their data recording and memory and like data transfer areas.
Mike?
Bixby did, a bit of that, like rerouting some standard networking protocols that they had, setting some like fake pings that they use in practice to kind of make sure that they're not actually being detected by the network.
Now, I have
So
a question
we can't appear invisible to the network or whatever, but I feel like you said before that Roy's appearance to the network is different than pretty much everything else, correct?
That's in the warp.
In the warp, okay, in the warp. And the network, while it is
I mean, in the network,
creature,
they can see you with like optical scanners, and other than that, you just look like an iPad.
And robots don't have warp shadows, right?
Correct.
Would it be possible for Roy to basically fake his image using like divine light or something, so that Pascal, like I don't know, I'm just asking, I'm thinking this through. Would it be beneficial for Roy to make those things, or for Roy to make Bixby and Pascal look
different,
confusing to the network, if they were viewing it through like warp eyes and looking at a warp shadow? Would that be beneficial?
The network
or
can't
with them
see
not
anything
having
in the warp either. The network can't see anything in the warp either.
Okay, would Pascal and Bixby essentially be invisible to this?
I mean, it might be aware of them digitally. It might be aware of like their, Wi-Fi signal approaching, unless they go into airplane mode.
Okay, so we install VPNs on them.
So I wanted to ask, because if you guys put up, so obviously the most powerful like defensive options that are available to them would be network tool, because the network capability is so much more powerful than like galactic standard. But if you did that, then this might be a situation where it might be more advantageous to use the objectively weaker but unfamiliar galactic standard tech than network tech, because you might be able to confuse them or something. What do you think, Mike?
I think that's worth a shot.
I think that fits into the narrative of Bixby and Pascal as well, is they like the network expects a network terminal to use these kinds of tricks, but they're not a normal network terminal. They have
Exactly. They're not going to use the same protocols. Yeah.
Yeah.
They might even have like new protocols that they've made up themselves by kind of, mixing and matching different technologies and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All duly noted.
The only other setup would just be that Roy is going to be wearing that armored suit like throughout this interaction.
Okay. Roy, do you have your projector with you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you guys can see. Did I move you over to the new map?
Yep.
I did. Okay. Do you guys enjoy the little spaceship I came up with for you?
Indeed.
It looked very bare bones.
Yeah.
Also,
it's just like this just looks like space debris. They don't even know that we're coming.
Also, the way this originally looked was it was originally like this, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a mech. But I like it better as a spaceship. Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't have taken Barbatos because it's still all fucked up.
Ooh, that's a good point.
I definitely thought about it, but I didn't want to like oh look at Zai using all the OP shit.
No, you know what? I mean, this is the last level. This is the time to use the OP shit, and you guys do have most of a month between each level.
Well, then instead of this barebone transport ship, we basically retrofitted the Barbatos mech to have some kind of like areas where we could like sit for storage on a short trip.
Yeah.
And we took that. I don't know what like debuffs or anything that you would want to give it, but yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, fight, right? But
yes, if it comes up in a fight, we will address that then. But for now, remind me, which of these two was it? It was either this one or this one. I think it was this.
Yeah, it's the second one.
Yeah, it's the second one. It should be. Can we scale it up a little bit?
Yep.
Cool. Nice.
Now, delete. Okay. All right. You just the Gemini will drop you off relatively close to it, and then you have do you want to ask the Gemini to drop you off like right next to the router, or do you want them to drop you off a bit away and then you approach?
It needs to be further away.
Yeah, drop us at a distance.
That'll make it safer for them too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You approach. Are you trying to approach discreetly, or are you just flying the white flag and walking up?
So, interesting. So I don't think that we need to come off as like openly hostile or anything like that, but we need to come prepared. So I'd say that we don't like. I guess turning on weapon systems is a hostile act. It's always read as a hostile act in sci-fi shows. It's like they're powering on their weapons, sir.
Well, it's not hostile. At least it's not a very good sign of good faith.
Okay. So instead of that, I think we would use the mech to start sending out a open the door ping.
Okay.
Like not requesting it, not demanding it, but just simply stating, "Open the door."
Okay. Bixby Pascal.
We own the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if those two have any input about how you should approach.
No, because anything that related back to like network protocols that's there, but that's not readily accessible to them.
Okay.
Yeah, because so correct me if I'm wrong, but mechs like this are typically commanded by Primarchs or their immediate immediate constituents, like the people immediately below them.
Yeah, they
So,
are.
like, basically, we're making ourselves look like we have the right to be here. We belong here. Open the door.
Yeah, you look like the diplomats or like Imperial war heroes or something.
Yeah.
You look important.
Yeah, I would say Pascal would start pinging some kind of like certificate of authentication, looking for a response.
What kind of
Don't get the
certificate
old
of
access
authentication?
codes.
Are you saying
They're old, but they
verifying
check out.
themselves as network terminal?
You got that.
Because this could go one of two ways. I would say, yeah, it's worth it. We're already here in front of the dumb sphere.
But yeah.
yeah, we're doing that.
Dumb sphere. Cannon.
Okay, that's interesting. I imagine this is probably. This is probably not something that has ever happened before, where a terminal that has, of their own accord, disconnected, then just came back to them. I think what they're used to is terminals who lost connection because of damage or something that then return seeking to be reconnected. So I think as soon as you ping them, I think they don't even ask. Just the first thing they do is they send out like no, the way they would do it is they would just open the hangar and they would just assume that you're coming in to be repaired.
Okay.
So I think they open the hangar.
You
guys just fly on in.
As Kevin said, codes are old, but they check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going right in.
This does very much feel like the Millennium Falcon landing. Oh my god, this is exactly what it is.
Or if you ever watched Battlestar Galactica, this is like when Boomer, before she realized she was a Cylon, walked into a Cylon-based star, and then saw like 30 copies of herself.
Okay.
Come back to us, Sharon.
So,
That's suspicious.
you land. You head inside. I think one thing that is probably, well, I was about to say unsettling, but it wouldn't be unsettling to you. Something that would be unsettling to anyone else is that there are like no lights. It is pitch black inside of this hangar because
the networks don't need lights.
Yeah, they have a few machines that are just like this hangar is like close to like a factory floor, and I think unlike if you think of the hangar of like a hangar that you would see in like Star Wars, where it has a floor and then a lot of vertical space, I think this hangar is more like a the inside of like the inside of a cabinet. It's just vertical stacks and stacks and stacks of like shelves and machinery, and it expands out in all three dimensions of just like clutter, but very organized clutter. So do you set down on like the nearest like landing pad and then wait for something to come out to you?
Yeah, I think that we definitely just touch down with the Barbatos.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we would get out and probably look for some kind of terminal that would direct us toward like the central processing or data hub section of the sphere.
Mhm.
So I know that we had an image for what your suit looked like at one point, but I don't have it with me.
I can get it. Hold on. That didn't work. It's just the N7 armor from Mass Effect.
Oh, right. I don't think I have a sprite of it, is what I meant.
I will have an image that I think you could use for a sprite in just a sec. I'm going to post it in Discord. Ah, that's not a full. You'd have to take the background out of these.
It's okay. I've got a few
this one works.
bits.
This one has that checkerboard black and white background, so or gray box and white. Yeah.
Give me just a second. Sprite sheet. Creatures.
Bless you. Seven armor strength.
Here, Zai. Look on Roll20.
Okay.
That one I just put down next to you. That good?
That works.
Okay. So, boop. And now, I think that before you even have a chance to start looking around, I think that a kind of like God, I am having trouble thinking of objects. Okay, I can see a laundry basket. A laundry basket size, like, ball in the shape of kind of like a giant eye with some wires trailing to and from it. It detaches from the wall and starts moving down towards you, and let's see. Give me a second. I'm trying to think of how this would start.
Holy shit, that was terrifying.
Whoa.
Little text to voice program. Good shit. That's really cool.
That is really, really cool.
So we're not going to be using any kind of guile or trickery or
I love this.
This is awesome.
So I think that we would respond, repair is not required. We are here for data on this species, and then we show the information that we've acquired about the thoughts and their possible existence during the early phase of the galaxy. Requesting data regarding this item.
One second.
No, I'm just waiting for a snarky network response. Take your time. Cool as shit. At first I thought I'd be like, Mike, why is our recording talking to us?
The recording shouldn't do that. If it does, you should all disconnect immediately.
Yeah. Is it Skynet time?
I mean, if it was, it's too late.
Roy would turn to Pascal and Bigsby and say, inform the network to review this vessel with network imagery. They will see the warp shadow is not that of a human and repeat the request.
Bixby will offer up the information and ask that they run their scan efficiently and quickly.
Also inform them that further questioning is decreasing the efficiency of the search request.
Bixby does not do that.
Damn it! We want to show no fear towards this thing because humans and organics would show fear. We do not.
Oh, we would love to, but Bixby's starting to understand fear.
Repeat the request for data regarding all data regarding thoughts. Specifically the species, not the concept.
Wait, are we sure we want all of that? Because that's going to give us back like
all of the.
Is this going to end up being an unintentional? Are you guys going to unintentionally DDoS yourself?
Request? No, don't. Okay.
Like, because for at least for Bixby and Pascal, like, our not being a part of the network makes a lot of the information that we can hold. It's important to make sure that we don't go over our storage limits. Basically,
narrow parameters. Request data that we don't already possess, specifically regarding the origin of said species and its extinction.
Okay. So.
Or disappearance, I guess.
Yeah, we don't really. Do we care about the extinction event? Like, not really.
I mean, I think Roy would.
Okay, so.
Yeah, Roy definitely. I mean, but yeah, no, we don't know that they're extinct. We just know that Roy is the only one of what he has found some information on what he is. So he's looking for the data that we're looking for is, are there any others? What is their origin? And what is the cause of their disappearance?
Okay. So.
And is there any like usage of this information at any other point in the galaxy currently?
Right. So first it is going to acknowledge your credentials to ask this question because you are traveling with network terminals, and it essentially assumes that the terminals had. This is not a thing that humans do, so they're basically playing along. The next thing it says is it responds and notes that in I think it responds with two pieces of legal code. One is from the Empire, noting that it is like illegal for for non-authorized government or non-authorized citizens to communicate directly with the network, basically. The net is from the Free State, stating it's basically a piece of patent law that says that any information acquired from the network is exclusively the right, like the ownership of the company that made contact with that whatever.
The name of
neither of them are relevant to you. But the important thing is it essentially says, like, are you sure you want this information? It could be bad for you.
Yeah, I think that if we need to, we should try to bypass any legal regulations based on citizenry, and the position or the reasoning for that would be these are network terminals that have disconnected and are no longer considered citizens under normal law.
You don't even have
They're
to go
not
that far.
concerned with
It's
the
not
terminal. They're only concerned with you, Roy. And specifically, they are.
Then I would pose the same argument for Roy, because he does not have a warp shadow that is recognizable as one of the network citizens.
Mm-hmm. So, basically, their thing is, this is basically just them giving you like a little like warning message that they want you to like check the box before you proceed.
Oh, okay. I thought this was like a lockout. Check the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say, this is just the EU way.
First of all, to reiterate, network does not, there is no technology that can interface with the warp directly. You can kind of work around that by making biotechnology, but the network doesn't do that. So the network has no way of double checking your credentials against your warp shadow. But it sounds like
I thought they would be able to
not...
see those, since Avalon's able to see those kind of things. That's something that's like a specifically organic ability.
Yep, only organic beings have access to the warp. And if an organic being becomes like sleeve, they lose that access.
Gotcha.
So the question. Oh, okay. So as long as you check the little box that you understand the legal ramifications of this line of questioning, then they will proceed and respond. So you asked what happened to the thoughts.
Yeah. And I guess just to go back a little bit, the only reason I wanted to caveat that Roy should not be considered a citizen or should somehow give an impression to the network, whatever this is, that he's not a citizen, because I don't want to get into a situation where it's like, okay, you have said information, you're now under arrest. But, go ahead.
I mean, I think by checking off that box, you are telling them that you are not a citizen of either of those legal bodies. And, and therefore they are not, they are no longer liable, whatever. So, so I do think that they would provide some information. I want you to give me some insight on what information do you think you need out of... I think that... Okay, so I think that the urgent part of this scene, the part of this scene that has any kind of dramatic tension, is what happens to Bigsby and Pascal when they try to leave. So you've gotten to the point where the network is willing to talk to you, and this information is not considered it is not considered restricted information by the network's perspective. If you had asked about the progenitors, or about demons, or about the origin of the Xenocians, or any of those things, they would have told you that's restricted information. But information about the thoughts is not specifically restricted. So I think that they will give you like a data packet with a reasonably sized data packet, but still more than you can peruse in 5 minutes. But I want to know, is there any specific question that you wanted to know before entering like the final level of part 1?
Yeah, so since the network doesn't have any kind of means of like scanning, I guess, to see warp shadows or whatever, Roy would provide some data like through Wi-Fi or through Pascal and Bigsby regarding his specific electromagnetic configuration, and he would ask if there are any other.
Your like CAT scan result.
Yeah, and he would ask if there are any other configurations of a similar type anywhere in the known galaxy. So basically, are there any others like me?
I think
I do have one other question.
Okay, so narratively, what I want to do is I want to say, I want them to say essentially like they don't know, but they will. I mean, they have not encountered any other individual like you, but it's extremely rare that they encounter individuals, and they are not. In order to basically, as a matter of intergalactic diplomacy, they don't officially hack into any of the other nation state like internet and collect the data, so they can't officially tell you whether there's anybody else like you.
Okay.
They can say that like they will perform a scan and like get back to you with the results. So what my inclination is to say, they leave you with just, we'll perform this scan and then I get back to you with the scan result during the epilogue.
All right. My second question. Oh, go ahead.
The problem is, if I do that, there is like an 85% chance I'm going to forget about it during the epilogue. So it is your responsibility to remind me. Okay. All right. Next question.
Who was the last organic to interact with this information? Any information regarding thoughts?
That's a good one.
Oh. Alright. I think they say, the last organic to retrieve information about thought was the human Imperial Primarch Hyronius, who retrieved this information, it did an unauthorized information retrieval according to the network information database. They believe that this is as a part of a research endeavor for his proxy company of Redport.
We need to find heroes.
So, essentially, what they're telling you is that the Terran Primarch Hyronius is the sponsor and owner of Redport, and that Hyronius has been doing unauthorized, basically hacking the network with to retrieve information, and some of the information he has retrieved is the stuff you were asking about. And the reason he is able to do that network hacking is because he is himself partially a network terminal.
I wonder, does Hyronius have any... Because Hyronius isn't based in the Free States of Macedonia, right?
No, Hyronius is one of the Terran Terran Empire Primarchs.
Yeah.
He's our main antagonist from our side of the today's journey.
But that does not, I mean, legally speaking, Imperial Primarchs are not allowed to own holdings outside of the Empire. That doesn't mean he doesn't.
All right, I think later Roy would want to look at the data and see what other connections, Hyronius has to the Free States of Macedonia.
This is a thing you know, is that Hyronius is in charge of basically Black Ops, so off the records research, secret experimentation with basically he's the head of the CIA and all the crazy shit that space CIA does.
Word.
So it would not be in the same way that if somebody told you that the American CIA doesn't have any foreign interests. It's probably not true.
Hyronius is George Herbert Walker Bush, so yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that information has been collected. Now, Zai, is it fair to move on to Mike for the second part of this scene?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that later on I'm just going to look for that connection, because I'm trying to get to you-know-who. But yeah, all right.
So Mike...
So I guess we'd be leaving at this point, or... Roy would turn to Pascal and Bigsby and be like, we retrieved the data required from this place. Now we need to make an exit.
Okay. Yeah, Roy, you are able to just like walk unimpeded back to your ship. Bigsby and Pascal, when if you go to turn, then the way I'm imagining it is that so the floor appears perfectly flat, but the like material that the floor is made out of is a like sculptable. It is a material that can be sculpted by the network in real time as needed. And one of the things they can do is they can sculpt it into the shape of screws. And so some screws just start like winding their way out of the floor into a socket on the bottom of your two robot feet so that they are not able to move. You are pinned in place by your own feet. That would happen. That would happen when you attempt to turn to follow him. Do you attempt to turn to follow him?
Bigsby does. Pascal does not.
Okay. So Bigsby gets pinned in place, and that's probably fairly alarming to them. Pascal just continues staring down terminal PERV.
Yes.
Okay. Do they say anything?
Roy has stopped and is looking back at this point, wondering what's going on.
Bixby just kind of waves to Roy, and Pascal drops.
Is it like a bye wave or a come help wave?
Oh no, that's like a goodbye wave. Pascal pings Roy on his data pad and just tells him not to worry. They're going to go ahead and take care of it from here, and begins transferring a large payload of data to Roy, like onto the data pad and to the ship that they were on.
Yeah, the mech has a like pretty robust computational system loaded onto it. So it fully Roy's pad does not have enough storage to hold all that information, but if Roy
the pad, the suit, and Barbatos, all three, I would have to defragment and put that together back later. But no, what the fuck? Roy would, I guess, shout a question out to the network. It's like, what is the reason for this? Why have you prevented my escorts from moving?
Give me a second.
Show. Robot voice.
I mean, that's the direct answer.
That really pisses Roy off. Roy says, I repeat, this unit is not a human. This unit is not a citizen of the network. This unit was being escorted by network terminals, which you are preventing from moving. Release them so that we can continue our journey.
I'm going to say the data transfer is about 50% done.
I love this. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. I have one more thing.
Sit. All the way. Put your butt on the ground. Good boy.
Bixby's gonna wave again, very slowly.
Oh no. Okay.
Pascal still has not turned around. The upload's to at about 60%. Your data pad has been maxed out, so you need to get on the ship.
Why? What will happen if I don't? Well, I mean, Roy did have
the DM, but I'm just gonna assume you don't want to be here.
Okay. Roy will give another response and say something like, your analysis of these units is flawed. These units are not what's the D word that he just used?
Terminals?
No,
defective?
Oh, defective.
Yeah. These terminals are not defective. These terminals have been intentionally removed from the network by the network. Please review your own data and release these units
Ooh.
before doing so.
That's pretty good.
Ooh.
That's pretty good.
Tasty.
How does the network respond?
Here's the thing. So normally this is okay. So here's the thing. You're going to have to roll guile. Normally we would like guile, like deception.
Oh, okay.
Normally I would say
Ooh, Jesus.
yeah, normally I would say like actually no, this isn't related to investigation, so you wouldn't be able to use your feet for
Oh boy, I got a 1 in guile.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm going to use some aspect.
Roy is not naturally good at guile, but this is what fate points are for.
Yeah. Okay. Rolling guile. Okay. All right.
That's
Got an
not
8.
bad.
Gonna 8. Gonna use a fate point to invoke synthetic brains are just better.
Okay, that makes sense. You can kind
also,
of naturally communicate with them.
Would the backdoor server access aspect work in the sense that I am trying to I'm using language to make the network think that, look, these are your own types of commands.
No, absolutely. You are quoting network information. In fact, I will let you invoke that one twice. You'll still have to pay. So this will be a total of 3 fate points, but you can count that one twice because that is
awesome.
That's your biggest
that's major.
You know the network and you know what the network is looking for like justifications.
Yes.
So it sounds like what you're trying to do is you're trying to convince this terminal that it has is somehow disconnected or has failed to receive information about what is happening with these guys.
Correct.
That's very good. So 3 points. I'm going to go ahead and track those here. So you are now down to 6 out of 9 for the rest of the level, and that puts you up to a point. That puts you up to a 14.
Woo!
Okay. And that is good enough.
Oh, thank goodness. I didn't want to come back to the group and be like, yeah, I lost the other 2. They did. I mean, they might still die, but I don't know.
So, it will essentially, I think it says, so it's not just you saying that. You also provide, information according to all the stuff we just said, and it accepts it believes what you say, and it will do it basically says that it's going to do a scan of its own files. Now here's the thing. What I think is going to happen is it sounds so the bolts grew out of the floor and their feet are released.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take a guess that Bigsby is going to walk back to you and Pascal is not. How on
that would
the
be a
money
correct
am I?
guess.
Roy calls over to Pascal and would say, "What are you doing? We need to leave here immediately."
We can call it 89% done, and Bixby is going to start coming back towards the Barbatos and grab Roy and forcefully pull him onto the Barbatos.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you know, I'm using the aspect of ego is inefficient because Roy basically, because of that association with death that we spoke about at the beginning of the session today, Roy's ego is inefficient has led him to behavior that normally he would have seen as suicidal. But now he is I need to make use of whatever this life is to do what is most efficient and will most stands the most likelihood of furthering my goals. And one of those is returning to the Golanga with both of the robots that I came with. So at this point, I still have 6 fate points left. I think
Hold
Roy
on.
allows. Go ahead.
So at this point, am I understanding? So I thought originally that Pascal was intentionally trying to stay behind to basically like Pascal was letting himself be taken hostage so that they can like, you know, have some kind of dramatic confrontation off camera. If that is what you're doing, then we can essentially end the scene. If Pascal wants to get back on the Barbatos when this is done, then I'm going to give you basically a plea bargain where you stall long enough for the transfer to finish, and then in exchange, Pascal doesn't get captured, but Pascal, some stuff is going to happen to them.
Yeah, Pascal never moved on purpose and understood what basically like they read through the rest of the EULA and understood that as a previously owned network device that they don't have the right to leave this space. Rory already bargained for Bixby. Pascal understands that and isn't going to leave, which is why Bixby is taking Rory forcibly to the Barbatos.
Okay.
In that
so there's
case,
nothing Roy can do.
Send them a message.
There's nothing Roy can do to move Pascal then, or to stop his action, because
you could physically come and pick him up. I don't know how strong you are in your suit.
I wasn't going to do that. I was going to surround him in a hard light object and tractor beam his ass with us.
Okay, so let's just call it this. Let's just say enough time has passed. You see the ping on your data pad, and it's going, hey, data transfer complete. And you see a little thumbs up, but it has like Pascal's face next to it. And Bixby goes, we should go now.
Huh.
And that's up to you what you want to do next. Pascal hasn't moved. Pascal doesn't move, actually. Pascal is devoid of moving.
Roy has an inkling that Pascal transferred himself with the data instead of staying connected to his physical body. So Roy will... I don't have this prepared. Roy says a little haiku about loss and rebirth and gets onto the fucking Barbatos, and we get the fuck off of the dump sphere.
That's what Pascal wants. And I don't know how you want to play that out, but I don't need a specific scene of Pascal saying like, hey, I'm staying behind and this is the reason. But Bixby is the one that needs to return with Roy on the Barbatos.
Okay. Before we do that, I have one more thing that happens like as you're getting on the ship. Okay. But it's going to take me a minute to type up. So, other player, talk amongst yourself.
You know what the saddest part about this is? I haven't been getting any of the feedback, and I hope it comes through on the recording for the text-to-speech, because I haven't heard any of it. I'm just like, this is a really cool set. Yet I haven't been hearing any of the.
It's great. It sounds like HAL 2000.
It's so good. It's some of the most like immersive like role playing I've ever done. To be honest.
Well, guess what? Y'all heard it, and that's good enough for me.
We want you to enjoy it as well, Mike.
I'm just going to assume that for RP purposes, I'm a network terminal, so I would just hear it as regular talk.
Okay.
Bummer for the recording if it doesn't come through, but maybe I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll just have Siri do text-to-speech.
Yeah, you're getting all the like text itself in the recording because you're recording the text.
I get all that, so that'll be there.
Yeah. Okay, keep talking for a while. This is gonna be. Give me 10 minutes of typing.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, I it is both. It's a lot of text, but also it is me like trying to pick just the right words and stuff.
Yeah, that's very fair.
So yeah, we can actually start making our way, Roy, and this is Bixby, away from the space. In fact, don't go too fast, don't go too slow. Pretend a cop is tailing you, whatever the equivalent of space cops are, and we can
Drive
we
like
can get
you're
out of the
a
space.
black male in the 21st century of Earth.
Yes.
Oh no.
Got it. I have unique experience of this. I know not from where.
Just somewhere in your databank.
Yes. An old memory. So I guess Roy and Bigsby get on the Barbatos and start leaving. But
They're
we'll
going to
wait.
send you like they're going to have a communication that they do with you like as you are getting on the Barbatos. Why don't we start with, you know what, okay, how about this? We will cut to the next scene with you guys meeting up. Well, you guys have your call with the party, and then presumably are going to meet up on the Gemini, and then come up with all the things you're going to do to get ready for this final mission. So, here are some bullet points, and somebody needs to write down, like, obviously not everything everyone says, but like if anybody has something they say that they want to work on or whatever, make sure you write that down because I'm not going to be listening. Okay. And then the end of that sentence was after we do that scene with you guys all having your conversation and stuff, at the end of this episode, I will I'll like finish this one with the final conversation between the network and Roy. So
Okay.
for now, your action items are talk your way through the phone call between the two parties, talk your way through what happens when you get back on the Gemini, and what things are you doing to prepare. Who is going to coordinate those and take them? You know what? I'm gonna volunteer. Mike should do it because 50% of Mike's characters are, well, 66% of Mike's characters are not present. If that's all right. Well, actually, that's probably hard for you because you're recording.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I forgot about that. You're already doing work. Yeah. So, whoever possible, just do general note anything I'm going to need to be aware of for those 3 bullet points. Kevin, can you write down the things people come up with?
Okay.
Okay.
Pulling up a notepad now.
Okay. And the first thing you should write on your notepad, just so you don't forget, the 3 action items are telephone call, what happens when the 2 parties get back to the Gemini, and what are you doing to prep? And with that, I'm going to turn my volume down so I can focus on typing.
I'm gonna grab some pizza. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Okay.
What was the 3rd action item, everyone? It was telephone call, what happens when we get back to the Gemini, and what was the last one?
Oh, and
What do you guys do to prep?
Okay.
So, Rory, how are you feeling right now? And this is Bixby asking you that.
Roy looks at Bigsby and says, "If you are looking for a response typical of organic forms, I would remind you again that I am not one of them."
Yeah, I know, but we're not on the scary network sphere anymore. And is tough as it is for you to sometimes open up like that, I just know that we were both prepared to not come back just so you could get that information.
Intriguing. I am curious as to the difference in both of your decision making. It seems as though Pascal was doing something that we are not yet fully aware of.
Pascal
Or at
has
least
a
that I am
habit
not
of
fully
doing.
aware of.
Pascal has a habit of doing that. A lot of times, he'll make decisions for our group that we don't understand in the moment, but is something that kind of keeps us protected from things like that, which is directly interfacing with the network, which is hoping to make us a part of them again, and we don't want that ever.
How many physical configurations has Pascal had?
Well, why don't you ask Pascal?
I think Roy would crack the closest thing to a smile that probably anybody has ever seen
Nice.
and say, that answers the question that I had. I didn't think he was gone.
It takes Pascal like a good 3 or 4 minutes to figure out how to interface with the Barbatos, but eventually you get like a good like heads-up display with, I don't know, I gotta figure out like a cool looking face for Pascal now, but Pascal is basically just inside the Barbatos the same way that, I don't know, like a ghost would be inside of a machine.
Yeah, he's a ghost in a shell.
Yeah, it's kind of like what did they call that system in Gundam Wing?
That
like-
Vinyana?
Yeah, like they could interface with it to basically be better pilots or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we dumped all that data, and now Pascal's just in there.
Wow.
So it was a big data transfer. Pascal
Does Pascal's data transfer to the Barbatos unlock any functionality in the Barbatos that was not there previously?
I mean, ultimately, I guess we'd have to leave that up to the
We should
DM.
explore that. Yeah,
but
we should definitely explore
Pascal
that.
doesn't understand, at least at this moment, what like limiters mean, but opens up like the ray cannon and just like lets loose, and it's just like, I don't think so.
And Roy's just like, interesting. You do realize that that bolt will travel forever, as there's no friction in space. Good job.
True, but eventually it will hit something.
Some organic millions of years from now will feel that.
Yeah. Pascal's a little spicy now too. Being a part of the Barbatos is a very different sensation as opposed to having their own, like basically their own rig. Pascal takes another moment to kind of think about it and is like, yeah, this would be the 5th reconfiguration I've had. The network is really good at finding disconnected units and reassimilating them, and I didn't really have a lot of time to prep you on what I wanted to do. So hopefully you can keep the ship in good contact until I can figure out what to do with my data from here.
Well, it sounds like you've got a new configuration to explore.
Yeah, there's still a lot of like systems coming online and going offline. The ride back should be very shaky because it's really hard for them to understand like the full control of the Barbatos. But it's an extremely like, as far as like of the
Yeah.
configurations they've had, this is one of the most streamlined ones they've had. Also, just like the pure bandwidth.
Pascal,
of
I would request
data.
that you don't attempt to pilot the ship. Allow Roy to do that. Take your time just exploring the new digs.
You get kind of like one of those like Emil happy faces on the heads-up display. And
Word.
Oh yeah.
they're just
That
very
was actually-
excited.
That wasn't me being a nice guy. That was me trying not to die before I get back.
Yeah,
I don't
Bixby-
know limiters. Let's go warp 11. That's how you break space time. No. We get
Yeah,
back to
they're-
the
they're not
Galanga.
looking to do
Everybody's
that.
like 89 years old.
Yeah, Bigsby just sits back and is kind of in awe of the quick thinking the both of you had, because they turned around because they were ready to go. So it's good that the two of you had the best of intentions kind of at heart to get them out of that. And just please don't do that again.
Yeah, no, Roy thought like Pascal was gonna blow up or something.
No, Pascal
Like, do not
liked
attack
that
this.
unit and did not want to put y'all in harm, but needed to make sure that there was enough attention not being brought onto them so that they could do the data transfer. Yeah, ultimately they just wanted to get out kind of clean and didn't know of a better way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all day. I'm pretty sure it'll be fun when we get back onto the Galanga and back at the Gemini. And it's just like, so what's up with the rest of the group?
So what happened with y'all?
We had fun. We just did some Google searches.
Roy would. I mean, if this is conversation that's occurring when we get back to the ship, I think Roy would have just looked at the group or whoever asked that and simply stated, I have data to review. You will be debriefed when I have pertinent information. And with that, Roy turns and goes to his room or whatever place he stays in.
Bixby is gonna go up to Mel and just be like, "Hey, so how'd you guys make out?"
You know, I think that we might have sold our soul to the devil. Not sure. Yeah. We are going to be trillionaires, though, so you know.
That's cool. We've never had any money, so
We're starting a Canadian Ninja Warrior.
No. So, I mean, I think that Emil would just like give a retelling of the encounter and how it seems like I got the impression that I don't know if we can trust Celine, but that I don't think she's lying about her intentions. I don't think that means we can necessarily like trust her.
is it and this is Bixby, is it common for your group to be in danger all the time?
I'm gonna look at Evelyn and remember the time that she teleported like an entire, civilization's worth of people across the galaxy and almost died, and then I'm gonna look at Ruda and I'm gonna imagine all the times we've saved him from nearly dying, and I'm gonna look back at Bixby and I'm gonna say yes.
Saved him? Dying?
What?
And I'm gonna think back of all the times like I cut my pinky off to preserve a little piece of myself.
Bixby's just gonna go, well, that's just smart.
Yeah, I know. I've been trying to tell everyone that for years, but they never listen.
You should always have redundancies, just backups of your backups.
I know. It is very awkward when every time we come back from a mission, that little piece of pinky has just like started to grow and is like a tiny little Emil. And I just have to go, sorry, buddy, I didn't die this time, and I sort of like bloop him back into my like stuff.
You just like resorb the baby.
Resorb the
Oh
baby.
my god! Okay, so I just finished writing, and I have logged back in, and I came back. I came back to the idea of Emil basically being like one of those children who consumed their twin in embryo, but
Ugh.
doing that on like a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Oh god. It is. It is.
That's great. Okay, so do you guys have business you need to complete, or can I go straight to the scene with Roy?
Go straight to the scene with Roy, and then we'll take care of the action items when we're done. When you're
Okay.
done.
All right. Zai, are you ready?
Ready.
Alright, so, I don't think there will require any, feedback from you, but, let me start by sending the messages and then we can go back and forth. Alright.
Okay.
What?
Aw.
Oh.
Okay, well, hold on, we'll keep going. It would not be in the best interest of civilizations across the galaxy for this group to return.
Oh no.
Hold on.
Terminal MX8 is working with this individual toward that end.
Yes.
Oh shit. Is Mate a villain?
I'll wait to put my GIF.
That's the end.
Oh.
Well, shit. And that's why Roy had nothing to say to everyone when they got back to the ship. It's just like, I have data to review. Because
Okay.
Roy is also, like, Roy is cool with Mate. So, Mate doing something that could cause any kind of damage to him, not necessarily the organics in the galaxy, but to him, Roy is kind of taken aback and not too pleased. Like, he's not sad or angry. It's just like, well, this was unanticipated data.
So, the only element of the thing that is particularly relevant to you is it has the last known coordinates of
Oh shit.
it has the last known coordinates of the veiled woman, and the last time they do not know where she is currently. The last time they saw her, she was in a transport that was headed south of the outer rim of the galaxy, which coincidentally also happens to be the location that the rest of the party can inform you is where the temporal cube is at.
Wow.
You like an his last reaction. Yeah, so yeah, that was a lot. So something to think about is when you guys get there to fight the the progenitor who is the bad guy progenitor, you might also have to fight Mate and or the Veiled Woman.
Wow.
So, what do you guys want to do to prep for your trip? Are you gonna buy like some snacks?
You M. Night Shyamalan us. Yeah, Ruda's definitely... Oh yeah, every single time that Ruda goes out, he always buys a ton of snacks. He also works out like crazy, usually with Charlie and Anwar in the tickler. They're on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, absolutely Lunchables.
Okay, so so this is our final this will be our final character prep. Basically your last level up. And I think it should be specifically tools that you think will help you to resolve this upcoming mission. Does anyone want to get a new big gun or a new explodey spell or a shield?
You
Or
just have some
Captain
vibranium shields
America.
lying around.
It is also worth noting, you don't know what this oh, you know what? I've got a thing. So you guys have seen, and in fact the party that went to visit Celine has this with them. You have seen a recording of the temporal cube in question, and I am going to, let me just make sure that I don't have anything played. Okay, so hide this and hide this. All right, I am going to show you guys the next map, because the map itself might give you some inspiration about things you could do to prep. So this is what the temporal cube looks like on the outside.
Oh, it's just a Winamp skin. I love it.
Wow.
Jesus.
So cool.
So the point of that is to say, if there's anything you want to do to prepare for whatever might be inside of a fifth dimensional
I think Bigsby would probably have informed the rest of the crew that Pascal was in the Barbatos, basically. And I think that Roy would have, some point while reviewing that data,
hold on,
asked
before you
Charlie
do that, is that correct, Morgan? Or not Morgan, Mike. Is that
you
correct
didn't hear that
Pascal uploaded their consciousness to the thing? Okay, no response.
Yeah, no. So they got all the data that they could. Also in relation to any of the data that the network had been streaming at that time, which is why the upload was taking so long, because they could have uploaded their consciousness kind of in a heartbeat. They were trying to strip additional data while they were there.
Mm.
That's why it's taking a while for the data merge to happen on the Barbatos, because they're trying to parse through the data that is not just themselves. And that's kind of like a what do you call it? Not multiplicity, that's a film. But they're trying to dig through the parts of that data that's them and basically put it back together. Like they're defragging their hard drive in real time. So yes, that's all Pascal, but there's also a lot of just like raw network data that's there too.
Thank you for explaining that. Now, Roy, you can continue your thing.
I was just going to say that we would try to bring some of the weapons and defense systems of the Barbatos back online. So I know it's not as powerful as some of the Primarch's whatevers, but I think that, I don't know, should be able to get it back in good working order.
Okay, so so Kevin is doing note taking. Kevin, make a note that Roy's upgrade is going to be the Barbatos, and Zai, I'll work with you on coming up with like cool stuff for it.
Mike already called one of them out. What was it? You said a pulse cannon or something?
Yeah, I want the pulse cannon, but I want a laser whip.
Yeah. So this thing is going to be like
what Pascal wants.
I guess both Mike and I will be piloting or controlling the Barbatos, just like it was in Gundam. Like it can move remotely now, basically because it has a consciousness.
Yeah, because it has an actual consciousness in it. Yeah.
But Roy can also interact with it, and I think that the trade-off would be similar to what was in Gundam. It's like when Roy is using this thing, if he's using it to fight, then it is injecting something into his physical body that's basically making him a cripple while he's doing this. Like he can recover, but I mean, similar to what's in Gundam, like if we go through a really hard fight and I don't know, let's say he gets his leg blown off, Roy will not have use of his leg anymore.
If Pascal is Pascal 2.0 the giant robot going to be best friends with Jagara 2.0 the giant robot?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, sure. If Jagara wants to be friends, like Pascal wouldn't force that, but also Pascal thinks differently of Jagara, since they were never networked.
Well, Jagara is not a robot. Jagara is a plant.
Oh, that's
She's
right.
a plant
I wondered. I need some time to think about that. I wonder if Pascal would think
some
differently.
Inter-robo-species sexuality. I think it's cool.
Because Jagara would be Xenosian then, right?
No. Jagara is not Xenosian, but Elfin.
Oh, Elfin. Okay. I was about to say, I'm like, yeah, we would feel really different about that.
I described it as Elfin tech all looks like the stuff from the show Guyver.
Yeah. Okay. Then that's cool. Yeah, we'll probably be friends.
Cool. Okay. So Mike, in that case, is Bigsby going to go along to help try to prevent this progenitor uprising?
No.
No?
Bigsby has actually been given, I guess, whatever the closest approximation of like robot PTSD is.
Oh god.
And is kind of having a hard time. Like they've been pretty upfront with the group about like, or they're going to explain like they don't think that they should be on the next leg of this mission. Pascal is basically kind of taking point on what it is that they would have done, so they're going to give support from the Gemini. I don't know how we'll manifest that yet, but I imagine it should be some kind of like additional boost to like tech roles or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, Bigsby doesn't feel good enough after what happened on the Sphere to go out on this mission.
Yeah. Okay, so I was gonna ask if there's like something else we should do for your character, but for better or worse, it sounds like Mate is gonna show up at some point, probably.
Yeah.
So
Mate will be there. It's like WrestleMania. Mate will be there.
Okay, so you will be playing Pascal 2.0, the big robot.
Yes.
for the first half of the level. So in that case, this would not be public knowledge, but I do want you to message me what upgrades, if anything is different about Mate when the party will run into them later.
Mhm.
Other question, players, Evelyn. What is Evelyn doing to prep?
Crying.
Okay, well, asked and answered. Is there any upgrades that does she want super tear ducts that she can spray her enemies with?
The tears.
I'd like to do something along the lines with Siva. Like, I probably just lean on her for some kind of emotional support, and I don't know, we learn some new attack.
Okay, how about this? I like the idea of leaning on her for emotional support. I think it's not like a weapon upgrade, it's a new ability. So we'll work together and come up with a new ability you can use with Siva. But you guys all have like theoretically several upgrades, but I'm trying to keep them all like focused on like one or a few things you're doing to prep for this thing specifically.
Gotcha.
I think the other part of it is you get an ability that you can use as like a special attack, but also I think you should get some kind of mental ability, or perhaps warp power you can use with Siva, because Siva is a warp entity. So maybe we can come up with something where maybe you can like manifest Siva in physical space or something like that.
Oh my gosh, I would love that.
Yep. Kevin.
Yes.
I mean, at least one of your upgrades is going to be the carrier ship.
So as far as the carrier ship goes, I wanted to do something interesting. I wanted to I want to have the Galanga on the carrier ship or inside the carrier ship, because you said the carrier ship was like pretty big, right?
Yeah, it's big enough to fit like several Galanga-sized things.
I want to equip the Galanga with like a self-destruct mechanism.
Ooh.
As a contingency plan, right?
Okay.
So I want my main upgrade to be literally just cash in all the money I have earned in the campaign up until this point for the biggest boom I can get my hands on.
Oh God.
I want like, yeah. I'm gonna tear if we need to use it, if we need to like, because I'm thinking if we need to be like, Evelyn, get us out of here, and we warp out, and the very last person there is like, I can fly the Galanga into the heart of darkness and blow shit up, and I'll survive because
you can just leave yourself a little baby Groot.
Yeah, well, I would leave myself a little baby Groot, but also if we're talking about like an atomic bomb that I'm putting on the Galanga, I would survive. I would just be floating around out there. Like...
Oh, but see, that's hard because then in the next campaign, like we think that you're dead, but then you come back with vengeance.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, so no, that's great. So giant self-destruct for you. And
yeah,
then
is there any way that Ivara could get an upgrade before?
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of... So currently, let me see what Jagara has currently. I think she has a big gun and a big sword.
That's about it.
Hold on. I'm going to read you her stat sheet. Ruda. Jagara. Okay. Things that she has. She has a spectral co-pilot, so she can self-pilot. She is armored and reinforced. She has an autocannon and a melee weapon and a spectral co-pilot. Do you want to give her? So you can give her like more weapons or more armor or whatever, but she's pretty well kitted out in both of those cases. What might be more interesting is to give her something more utilitarian, like maybe some kind of sensor upgrade or something that would because normally machines cannot interact with the warp at all, but Aelfin tech is intentionally like built into the warp. Maybe you could give her some kind of like warp utility.
That's super interesting. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Can she go into the warp right now?
So, she exists in the warp and in physical space in the same way that your character does.
Okay, good.
The same way that all sentient creatures do. But we could give her. I mean, if you like the direction of going with something warpy, I can look through the skill set of different warp classes and suggest a couple like warp class things you can do.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool. So right, so we'll note that down. Yeah, maybe we could go with something in the like telekinetic spectrum. All right, so who's left? We've done Kevin, we've done Morgan, we've done Mike, we've done Zai, we've done Aeneas. I think that's all of you. I continue to think that's all of you.
Yeah, that's all of us.
Okay. Kevin, read me back what we got.
Okay. Roy's upgrades is the Barbatos, the Pulse Cannon. Pascal is getting the Laser Whip. Evelyn cries, goes and talks to Siva, leans on Siva for emotional support, and they learn a new maneuver, which we've yet to figure out.
Yeah.
Emil rigs the Galanga with a powerful self-destruct mechanism as a backup, and Jagara gets the aforementioned warp abilities.
Perfect. Okay. With that done,
just a little clarification. Nothing about that was wrong. I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page. Roy's upgrade is the ability to use the Barbatos / Pascal in combat.
Yes.
Pascal's upgrade is the Pulse Cannon and the Laser Whip that was unlocked on, the Barbatos / Pascal.
Okay.
But yeah, that ability to command Pascal / Barbatos is dependent on a physical connection to Roy, which can and will cause him debilitating injury if the mech is pushed beyond safety limits.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And one last time, Jagara, can you give me one last time exactly what Jagara's new power warp ability is? Explain it to me one more time.
We don't know exactly. Just write down like the warp ability, and then I'll work with Morgan to figure out the specifics.
All right. Yeah,
okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
That covers basically everything. Kevin, if you paste that in the game notes thing, then I can summarize the other events that happened today and leave that as a summary under game notes.
Yep.
What? Oh, okay. So are we good?
Yeah, I think we're all good. I'll message you separately at some point this week. I just need some time to think about how I want to handle the MX8 stuff, but maybe I'll send you some other stuff for Pascal if I think of any other cool upgrades. But I think that's it. That's it for me.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. This was a fantastic start to the level, and I'm very excited to see how things play out so far.
Yeah, thanks for letting us like role play that out, because I was hoping you would be cool with the way that I wanted that to go.
Yeah, and I'm very excited for us to explore a fifth dimensional prison.
Yes.
That's gonna be really neat.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool beans.
Okay.
I'll a little bit later.
Okay.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
All right. Have a good week,
Okay,
y'all.
y'all.
See you.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.